What's good? What's good, people? Welcome to another edition of Politricked, only on the Got What You Need network. Of course, I'm your host, Guy. Today, man, we're going to talk about, that orange dude again, man, because becoming numb to his crimes and his transgressions is very dangerous to the future and national security of this country. All right, let's just be clear. The walls are also closing in on Alex Jones, who a judge just ruled that he can't use his bankruptcy ruling to shield him from the $1 billion settlement. He was found liable in that Sandy Hook. In the Sandy Hook tragedy, he had nothing to do with that, but he continued to talk about how it was a false flag. It didn't happen. It was fake. And he had so many opportunities to just shut up. Like, no one was saying, hey, you have to admit that this happened. They were just saying, stop saying it didn't. And he refused to. And now until the day he died, he going to be paying up or hiding money or trying to do a little bit of both. DJ Envy, man. His problems are probably going to get worse. And I want to say this. Right now, I believe he's a victim too. But with that being said, you have to protect your name better than he did. You can't be on the radio every day as this, morning show person. Like, for years, people have this trust in you. Oh, he's on the radio every day. Ain't no way this could be a scam. He not going to do this. These people, and I even said, once somebody says, I signed up because DJ Envy said to do so, that was the end. And more than a few people have said that. So, let's just start. Well, let me finish with what we're going to talk about today, and then we'll start with Envy. House GOP, man, is definitely officially an opposition party to the U.S. government, whether you're talking Speaker McCarthy. Got bailed out by the Democrats when it came to the debt ceiling. 30 seconds later, was basically out in front of the reporters saying, F the Democrats as a record label staff and crew, whatever. Then he wanted to be the speaker so bad that he gave up power that allowed him to be ousted. But we'll get back to that a little later. Let's start with our DJ Envy. So, currently facing, he hasn't been charged yet. Let's start there. But facing scrutiny because his business partner or former business partner, Caesar, was arrested and charged with fraud amongst a bunch of other charges. Now, this is dangerous for DJ Envy because you can see him and Caesar in a bunch of ads talking about, what a great place Patterson is. If you want to find some investment property, you know, Envy's going on and on about trying to teach people about wealth, all of this kind of stuff. And what we're finding out is, like I said, according to what's been charged so far, Caesar was basically taking money from people that were at these supposedly free seminars in which they were interested in investing in housing, investing in properties, different stuff like that. And it's looking bad for Envy because, once again, he allowed this man or whoever else to use his name. And once again, Envy appeared in commercials talking about it. I just saw a clip on Twitter or X or whatever L is called, where him, DJ Pro Style, and somebody else holding a bunch of checks supposedly and all of this kind of stuff. So he can't say that he was hands off because like I said, that clip lets me know, like he was talking about how, dude buying more houses than he is, and he got to catch up and all of this kind of stuff. So he was definitely involved, more than he wants to let on. But I do believe that he was misled by his business partner. But with that being said, it doesn't let him off the hook. And this is why I say that. If Caesar, I think his name Pena, if he had come to you and asked for money without DJ Envy's backing, 99% of the people that gave him money would have said no. He needed somebody with a name, somebody trustworthy to break down any type of apprehension, any type of, I don't know about this, or what have you. And Envy has to realize that it's a cost for him to allow someone to use his name in that manner, and it turns out to be a fraud. So, like I said, as of this recording, DJ Envy hasn't been charged with a crime, although his name has been brought up. There was a report that iHeartRadio offices were raided. I later found out that report was an error. It wasn't true. Just that Caesar was arrested, charged. Now we'll just wait and see what else happens. I also want to say it was funny because he said, like, he called three people. He said he called Clue, called Fabulous, I think he called Joe Butt. Clue was like, nah, I'm good. Fabulous was like, nah, I'm good. Joe Button said, I don't know about this, man. It sounds like a Ponzi scheme to me. But then he also said, like, I haven't even heard from this dude in ages. And out of nowhere, he hits me up about money, about investing or whatever. Felt like that was strange as well. And I think that is too. I believe he has people closer to him, and the fact that he was just reaching out to, I guess, celebrity friends that he knew had money, that's going to be another red flag that the prosecutors would probably um, not harm, hone in. All right? So let's just watch what's going on. I'll keep you posted in regards to any changes in regards to Envy's status, whether he was cleared or whether he was officially charged, or whether it's still kind of like, hey, the big celebrity mixed up in this, and because his name was used, a lot of innocent people lost a lot of their hard-earned like savings, thinking that this will be a good investment to set them up for the rest of their lives. So we'll keep this story on our radar, and I'll be reporting on it further when new facts come to light or if anything changes. All right, I started off talking about people becoming numb to Trump crimes, and it's getting to the point where it's scary. He's already been indicted in Georgia, Florida, D.C., and New York. He's basically running for president simply to raise money to cover those legal. I don't care about him having his wife prance around the Mar-a-Lago pool in a bikini, whatever. My problem is that the Australian Prime Minister got on the Australian version of 60 Minutes and said that Trump shared secrets of locations for nuclear stuff. Went on to talk about how reckless Donald Trump was with all of this classified information, that it wasn't just him there, and there were people there that was hearing this information that shouldn't have been in the same room with all these top secret and classified information. His Trump's only response to that was to name call a guy. That's when you know that he was telling the truth. And this is after it was alleged that when he met with Lavrov from Russia in the Oval Office and kicked all the reporters out, it was said that he shared the location and the secrets about Israel's Iron Dome and how to get around it. Recently, we had an attack by Hamas, in which they were able to circumvent the protections of the Iron Dome, cause maximum damage and casualties before Israel pretty much even knew what was going on. But all we want to talk about is people saying, "Hey, Palestinians are dying too," and then they get labeled as anti-Semitic, or want to pick on Harvard students who are basically saying that there are innocent Palestinians being killed, and no one is talking about that. They're just basically giving Israel a green light to kill Palestinians. Now their pictures are on trucks going all around um, areas in the campus telling CEOs not to hire these people because of their anti-Semitic. And that is so fucking trash. Like, so trash. Like, my whole thing is, if we're gonna try to destroy people's lives or whatever, like we did with Ye, like we did with Kyrie or whatever, then we have to look at who did more damage to the Jewish community. And it's obvious it's Donald Trump. And he's been talking slick. Oh, Israel's not very smart. That's why Hamas got over on them and all this kind of stuff. None of that stuff even gets a tick on the outrage meter. But let somebody just talk about just human compassion. You know, look at what the Israelis are doing. They're lying about this. They're lying about that. In which they were caught. They were caught. You know, they were caught. You know, they even admitted they was shooting at one target and made a mistake and hit a mosque. Admitted that. Admitted it. And then what do people say? Oh, well, you know, they gotta be able to protect themselves and all this kind of stuff. Like, come on, man. Like, this dude basically made that attack possible. And he's still leading the polls in regards to GOP nominees for president. Insane. Insanity at its finest. And then lastly, before I move on from this orange motherfucker, how many more working class people are gonna go to prison backing him or supporting him? Like, the latest was a mother of 8, and people were getting up, you know, trying to defend this woman. And I'm like, nah, she knew she had 8 kids when she put that pink hat on and went to the Capitol. She had that pink hat on because she wanted people to see her. When the pictures and the recordings came out, she wanted people to easily point and see that she was down. But that same pink hat got her in trouble. And now I believe she's going to be in prison for, I don't know, like 4 hours, maybe? 4 hours, 4 years. 4 hours. For like 4 years, man. So, like I said, let's see, you know, what happens during appeal or whatever. But it looks like, she's going to be sitting down for a little while. And only because he supported Donald Trump and this whole insurrection, excuse me, nonsense. You know, so I don't feel bad, man. Like, my whole thing is, like, if you are gonna sit here and and support somebody, basically, okay, the woman's name is Rachel Powell. That's what I was looking for. They called her the bullhorn lady. She broke the Capitol window before using a bullhorn to tell rioters they should coordinate together if they're going to take the building. Yeah. And like I said, she was sentenced to 4 years in prison. Once again, woman's name is Rachel Powell, mother 8. Once again, very easily spotted. She had on a pink hat, and she did the crime that she was charged and convicted of. And now, people, her family and her friends, and look, I don't blame them. I would want my family and friends to ride for me, whether I'm in trouble or not. But my whole thing is like they want her to get a slap on the wrist after the fact. At no time prior to her being charged did she express regret. She didn't come out after it happened and said, "Hey, I want to turn myself in. I was there. I was wrong, and I regret, the part I played in it." No, she was a big bad January 6th insurrectionist, and all of this, until it was time for her to get locked up. Once it was time for her to get arrested, charged, and all that kind of stuff, that's when all the people want to pull out their violins. How can you do this to a mother? She's a mother, whatever. She knew she was a mother of those same 8 kids before she went and basically threw her life away on some racist nonsense. So, do I feel sorry for her? Nope. Nope. All right, let's move on. Alex Jones. We'll be quick with this one. Alex Jones was found liable of just lying. Like literally, I don't even know what the actual charge was, but what he did was constantly lie, constantly say that the Sandy Hook massacre was a false flag. It didn't happen. Put up fake videos with so-called the same crisis actor there or what have you. You know, and the thing was, he had so many opportunities to let it go. Like, at first, nobody was really looking to get anything from him other than silence about their dead loved one. It's all they want. Hey, can you please stop saying that this didn't happen? Like, it's people that went through it that are still having nightmares about this. So can you please, like, stop this? You have so many followers, so many people that listen to you, and a lot of them take you at your word, and now they're attacking the families and attacking people close to those families or whatever, and saying, yeah, you and your false flag and your conspiracy and, the leftist, deep state and all this kind of stuff. And the fact was, it was children. Well, and some teachers, but it was mostly children who were shot. Man was so cold, so mean, so calculatedly cold. So now, recently, a bankruptcy judge a judge basically said he can't use his bankruptcy to shield him from having to pay. And they're gonna basically start watching his money, how he makes it, and it's gonna be harder for him to hide it. Will those families get anything close to 1.8 billion? Nope, nope, nope. But what they are trying to do is make sure that Alex Jones, from now until his last day, won't be able to like just go on vacation and do all this kind of stuff. Don't get me wrong, he's been doing some spending and some things like that, but that's why he was in court recently, and now it's going to be even a tighter grip on his funds and the way that he gets his funds. It's probably going to and they can't take everything, but they'll probably be garnishing like anything he's getting from like YouTube or Spotify or whoever it is that is allowing him to still put out that bullshit podcast or whatever. But yeah, man, good for him. Like, you deserve everything about that. You deserve. All you had to do was shut up, and you decided that you'd rather be a mean spirited piece of shit, and that's what you get. So that's what it is. House GOP. I said it at the top of the broadcast. They're officially an opposition party to the government. It's 3 weeks. We still don't have a House Speaker. We don't have a House Speaker because former Speaker McCarthy made a deal with the Democrats to keep the government, which he should have done. Then he went and basically just dogged Democrats to the media. And the Matt Gaetz caucus was so upset that he didn't just let the government shut down. So he used the rule that he got in exchange for a Kevin McCarthy vote for Speaker, that any one member can bring up a resolution to have the Speaker removed. That's what he did. The same Democrats could have saved him, but they were like, nah. Like, why am I going to continue to help this man when all he's going to do is dog us out to the media, like he's like currently doing? Even though it was Matt Gaetz, he continues to say it's all the Democrats' fault, because what they were supposed to do, even though he don't give a fuck about him, he talks shit about him, they were still supposed to save his speech. Like, that's just how naive he is. Jim Jordan should have knew he never was going to be Speaker. There's enough Republicans that don't like him. And they're so cowardly, right, that I believe it was 22 that voted against him publicly. And they had another, I think it was 111, not another, but 111 total. So there's almost 100 people that privately can't stand Jim Jordan, Trumpism, or whatever, but are too scared to publicly oppose it because they're scared of the consequences. Let's think about that. And then, like, it's even funnier because, like, the people that they have that are supposed to be taking McCarthy's place as Speaker are, like, unfit. Byron Donalds, like, he got caught in a lie, like, in real time, not later on in the papers or whatever. In real time, AOC calls him out for a fake redacted text exchange, supposedly between, I believe it was Hunter and James Biden or whatever, and it was all wrong. Like, my whole thing is, if Joe Biden is this bad, you shouldn't have to have fake evidence in order to try to get a favorable response during an impeachment hearing. You understand what I'm saying? Like, if he's bad, just pull out the information you have and let the information and the facts do as they will. But nope, he got called out like AOC basically broke it down point for point, and then he sat there looking stupid. Not to mention, he used to try to push weed, got caught up in that, and then got caught up in another fraud where he used a company to try to get money from people. So this is a very dishonest man, and he shouldn't be nowhere near the speakership, and he's also an election denier. And basically everybody nominated except for one person is an election denier. And if you're an election denier, you automatically disqualified from the speakership, in my opinion. Then you got New York Congressman George Santos, who had the nerve to be in the halls of Congress yelling, like, if you're gonna just let the Democrats just do all this kind of stuff, then I'm gonna quit Congress. And it's like, bro, like, you're gonna get kicked out anyway. And this is the thing. It's so rich to have that kind of posture, knowing you've been indicted for felony and is facing prison time. it's so bad they had to go back to the indictment and redo it because he had done so much stuff. But that's the GOP. That's the House GOP in a nutshell, man. Basically, they're an opposition party to anything that this country is supposed to stand for, and um, another congressional session like after this one with them in charge will be to the demise of the United States of America. I can't be any clearer than that. Let's close with some Democratic shade. Senator Robert Menendez, senior senator from New Jersey, needs to resign. Should have resigned when he was charged a couple of years ago, and a hung jury or a mistrial shouldn't have allowed him to keep his job as U.S. Senator. And I'll call out Schumer for the weak response, the slap on the wrist that he got. He basically got a toughly written letter telling him that was bad what he was accused of. Like, I don't want to talk about whether he's a good person or not, but there's so many things that point to him not being a good person. Like, his current wife was in a car accident in which somebody died. And I don't know if she would have been charged and held liable, but it wasn't even allowed to go to court because he swooped in and made it all go away and then ended up marrying this woman. I don't know how, through all of this, they fell in love and all this kind of stuff, but it's just so fishy, and the optics of it are terrible. So once again, senior U.S. Senator from New Jersey and a dark blue state, Robert Menendez, needs to resign in light of the charges of selling state secrets to the Egyptians for money, gold, favors, all of this type of stuff. Cash that was found at his house, that's not necessarily something that's disqualifying, but gold bricks with one of your co-defendants' fingerprints on it found in your crib, that's a bit much, man. It's definitely more than an eyebrow raiser. So, like I said, man, Menendez needs to step down as well. Like, we can't call some people out and then let some people get away with stuff. He's got to go. So that's that. But look, man, I want to thank you for your time, man, and your patience, man, because I know, man, I don't be coming through as often as I should, but when I come through, man, I come through with some information and some fire, if I do say so myself. So look, man, let's keep an eye on how these legal situations with Trump play out and if there are any consequences for him. All right? We're going to definitely keep an eye on Alex Jones, and is he going to start paying up or what? Or is he going to keep trying to hide his money and do all this stuff? And it's probably going to be the latter, but he's going to get caught. DJ Envy, whew, oh man, this is all right before the holidays. It's going to be a tough Christmas for those who celebrate New Year's and holiday season for the Casey's. I believe that's his last name. I think I had heard that his wife had deleted expensive stuff off her Instagram, and I thought that was stupid. Like, you guys were well off before this. That's just letting people speculate that, see, that money he was getting from them houses, his wife was splurging with that. That's the only reason that she deleting this stuff now. And they have every right to speculate like that because that's how it looks. You know what I'm saying? So look, man, that's my time. Appreciate the love. Appreciate the support. We'll be back in a little while with another great episode. But in the meantime, peace.